Alright, you clicked on this video, you should know what Blookets is, but if you don't know what Blookets is, it's fun, free, educational games for everyone, aka school games that you just like do in school and stuff. There's a lot of different game modes. Specifically, we're going to be going over the solo game modes today, and without further ado, let's just get right into the video. So, our first game mode is Fishing Frenzy, and this is where you really get to see the educational aspect. If you're not familiar with these types of games, it's primarily a game, but then they just kind of throw in these questions whenever they can. And today I'm probably going to be focusing mostly on how they use those questions and how the game actually is fun, I guess. Yeah, probably why the game's fun. That's what games are meant to do, right? Tangent aside, Fishing Frenzy is a fishing game and centers around collecting these lure upgrades that allow you to catch better fish and hopefully get more pounds of fish within the time limit allowed. Now, if I'm not mistaken, this game mode is an adaptation of a multiplayer game mode, which there are multiplayer game modes. So if you want to see me do them, like and subscribe right now. So that's why this game kind of doesn't really feel like much. It's just a loot box simulator, but fishing. There isn't even any skill except for answering the questions. So overall, this game's kind of mid, but the music's kind of a bop. Besides just hosting games, Blookets is also the world's primary child gambling service after you get coins for playing the games, and then you can try to get Blookets, which is fun. Zorb Blitz is our first example of a game that was first made for single player instead of being adapted from a multiplayer game. And as you can see here, it is the simple brick breaker, yet somehow they have ruined it and made it not fun. Not even just because you answer the questions and that kind of like ruins your flow of brick breaker, but it's just a bad game. Like, okay, let me explain it to you. This is Google Brick Breaker, in my opinion, one of the best modern versions of Brick Breaker. And you can see right off the bat that there are many differences between this and Zorb Blitz, and I'm going to be covering each one separately, explaining why Zorb Blitz sucks. First, Brick Breaker, the paddle that you control to hit the balls back, is controlled by the arrow keys, whereas if you recall with Zorb Blitz, it is controlled by the mouse. Now, this does change some things. First, Zorb Blitz gains infinitely more speed, and really your only limiting factor is how fast you can move the mouse and how accurate you can be. Whereas with Brick Breaker, there are decisions to be had, like, am I going to save both the balls or am I going to try to get myself another heart? And that's just kind of the decisions that you have to make during the game because of your limited and set speed. Alright, next, I want you to really closely look at the physics of these balls on Brick Breaker and really see how do they act. Just watch. If you've noticed, they don't actually have gravity. They're kind of just like roaming around, and that is the next part where Zorb Blitz falls flat because for some reason they decided to add gravity to the ball. And not even did they add gravity, they made the levels so freaking tall that you have to get like a perfect upwards hit to even get to the top. It's crazy. I don't know why they decided to do it. Alright. One last gripe with the game before I'm done and I tell you my overall thoughts about Zorb Blitz. The questions and their placement are stupid. Like, I know I can't really think of a better place to put it, but it just ruins the flow of the game. Like, come on, man. Anyway, I genuinely think that this game might be the worst out of the whole solo compendium for Blooket games. So that's something, I guess. Ooh, we are peaking early with this one. This is quite possibly one of my favorite games, and if there wasn't for a certain one later on, my favorite. This is very simple. It's like pool, and every few shots you have to answer questions to regain your power for the shots. It's really a simple game. I don't really have anything much to say to it, but as you go on the levels and you get more pucks and stuff, it's actually pretty fun. After the hell that was Zorb Blitz, this is a nice refresher. Yeah, as I said, this game was really good, and I enjoyed this one unlike the ones before. Plushy Panic is, again, like some of the games where you have to like connect 3 and like shoot them and they fall down. I think that's a game genre. That's literally what it is. I don't know. I don't really play them. They're probably just like stupid mobile games. But I don't know. I don't know why I'm doing this video. It's freaking Blookets. It's educational games. I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm like 2 days into editing this. Why am I doing this? Alright, so unlike Zorb Blitz, this game is just copying from another game, but not making it actively worse. So it's pretty good. Tower defense. Keeping up the trend of just copying games that already exist and just adding questions to them to make them educational in air quotes. You can basically make a connection from any of these towers to any of the balloons towers. Like, they all have correlations. Actually, surprisingly, Tower Defense 1 is like way better than Tower Defense 2, because surprisingly only Tower Defense 1 actually has split paths, which is a very fun part of like the balloons and other tower defense games, where you can go your own path depending on what you need and what you find cool. And Tower Defense 2 just loops them all into one upgrade, which doesn't make much sense to me. So yeah, Tower Defense 2 disappointing, Tower Defense 1 is actually pretty cool. Again, this is just copying off of another game and adding questions to it. Sounds like we're getting a pretty big pattern here. Except this game is based off of games like Survivor.io and Megabonk and Vampire Survivors, all those ones, except it's worse because you have to aim at those attacks and there's only the cardinal directions plus diagonals. I'm done with this. Alright, lightning round. Cafe is a question spamming simulator, same with this one, and this one's actually kind of fun. And done. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm gonna go to bed.